next is Jason Perry from Dean Close School. Jason is into music, video games, films, map reading, engineering, and the final two on his list that I would love to see him combine, tabletop war games and magic tricks. There's a space in the market for that. Right, huge round of applause for Jason, please.
When you see someone standing on stage with a deck of cards, you immediately think you are seeing a magic trick. But what you are actually seeing is a carefully staged set of 5 psychological manipulations. Firstly, the magician needs to gain control over your perception. This is the assumption. It takes an enormous amount of brain power to process the world around us, so we take shortcuts. Unfortunately, this can lead to a side effect called Paratactic Distortion, where we make false assumptions. For example, you probably think that there are 2 cards here, when in fact there are 3. A joker, a second joker, and the Queen of Clubs, which I shall now place on the bottom. Next, we have the classic misdirection. There is the obvious, hey, look over there. But there's also something a little more uncommon called the false solution. Confirmation bias means that if we think we know what's happening, we are less likely to question it. For example, that queen that I appeared to put on the bottom is now no longer there. And it's not on top or in the middle. Next, we have the conceal. It takes about 1/10 of a second for information arriving in the brain to be consciously perceived. We get around this lag by effectively predicting the present. Magicians can use this to create a cognitive illusion. For example, when I wave my hand over the deck, it may appear as if I just palmed a card, when actually there's nothing there. The penultimate stage is called the reinforce. At this point, you trust the magician, creating a psychological contract. However, he needs to now reinforce that trust. As humans, we think that if something's obvious, it's more likely to be true, which actually isn't the case. For example, if I show you a card and tell you it's the Queen of Hearts, you are more likely to believe me. But that same Queen of Hearts is also on top of the deck and in the middle. But when I show you that actually all 3 cards are jokers, you're more likely to doubt yourself than to distrust the magician. Finally, we have the most important part, the magic moment. The magician's brain has been ahead of you the whole trick, and this is where your brain must catch up. This is why we think certain experiences are actually magic. But of course, there is no such thing as magic, only psychology. And I am the psychologist who can make you see what isn't there and miss what has always been there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Brilliant. Right, who wants to start? I'm going to start with Sarah, because the whole way through you're like,
That was superb. Tell me how on earth you managed to do magic tricks whilst delivering a science lecture to us. How did you do those?
Well, because I do magic tricks a lot, it just comes as second nature to me. Sometimes, especially if I've done this magic trick so many times, I'm just used to it. And so I can focus on remembering the speech and delivering it well.
Well done. Impressive.
is the jaw back? No. Joe, got a question? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always impressed with anybody that can do magic, so well done for doing both of those things. How much did you know, though, about the psychology of magic before you did your presentation?
I didn't know anything because I was doing magic. I just really wonder why people think, like, oh, this is magic, and why we call it magic, when in fact, obviously, it's not magic. I was just really interested in that topic.
Cool, well, I think we are now as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Jason. Thank you.